Good morning, my name is Stephen Sullivan. Thank you for having me at the American Public University System Symposium. Today I will be doing a quick book review on Saving a Million Species, edited by Lee Hanna. This is the overview of the subjects that we will be discussing today. Please take a second and familiarize yourself with it. To begin with, I'd like to talk a little bit about the editor, Lee Hanna. He has had a pretty distinguished career with a bachelor's and master's, ultimately culminating in a PhD in environmental science and engineering from UCLA. He has also worked as a senior fellow at Conservation International, which is a nonprofit conservation organization. He's an adjunct professor at the University of California in Santa Barbara, and he has authored or co-authored over 50 papers on biodiversity conservation and climate change. Again, the book I will be reviewing today is called Saving a Million Species, Extinction Risk from Climate Change. This book is a collection of works and studies conducted by multiple scientists and authors on climate change and its relationship to extinction rate. It was published in 2011 and examines the main question of how many species may perish as a result of climate change. It was published soon after the 2011 United Nations Climate Change Conference. This book is divided into 6 sections, as you can see. I don't have enough time to go over every section, so I will be going over parts 2, 5, and 6. Part 2 looks at refining the estimates of a 2004 study done. The data from this study suggests that there will be a dramatic change in the coming century. Looking at the diagram, we can see that there is a projected sharp increase in global surface warming after the year 2000 and will continue to increase unless something is done. Because of this, climate change discussions have moved from the hypothetical to how to stop and adapt to it. Same can be said for the biodiversity crisis. Part 5 looks at predicted future extinctions. One of the first pieces of information I came across is the carbon dioxide now exceeds 390 parts per million. That's 100 parts per million higher than seen in the past 740,000 years. This has been linked to a rise in ocean temperatures and sea levels have increased by at least 7 inches. The chart shows a reconstruction of a typical tropical ocean atmospheric CO2 content. The main thing to look at on this graph is there are 2 thresholds, one with temperature and the other with carbonate ion concentrations. These will be crossed within the next 40 years unless something is done. Part 6 talks about implications on conservation. Some of the most important information from this section is that institutional or systematic changes are slow, and there must be new partnerships established to help protect biodiversity. It is not easy for natural resource agencies to continually modify their practices in response to monitoring results, and they should familiarize themselves with adaptive management, a decision-making process used when faced with uncertainty, which aims to reduce the amount of uncertainty over time with the help of monitoring practices. Now we're going to look at the author/editor's suggested approach. Lee Hanna suggests that climate change is an environmental issue that this century is facing, and we should not prolong our response to addressing this issue. He also says that we may not have a true number of extinction rates and risk for some time since climate change and extinction rates happen slow. The most important action is to reduce the risk is to develop strong climate change policy actions, including reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, as well as stout adaptation actions to help climate change and habitat loss. This book has had a large impact on environmental science. It provided a collection of work that helped put the majority of the information in one location. It's made it easier for researchers to bring up issues to the masses, which helped many states create bills and resolutions relating to climate change. In 2012, 14 states enacted 23 bills. 2013, 17 states, to include Washington, D.C., enacted 28 bills, and in 2014, 18 states enacted 26 bills. As a result, 32 states, including Washington, D.C., have adopted specific greenhouse gas reduction targets. It was my pleasure presenting this book to you today. Please take some time and read this book. Here are some references utilized during this presentations. Are there any questions? Thank you again for attending my presentation. Again, my name is Stephen Sullivan. Have a good day.